Before we begin, friends, if you enjoy intense family dramas and slow-burn revenge stories like this one, please take a moment to subscribe to my channel. It truly helps more stories find their way to you. I still remember the smell of polished oak and citrus cleaner when I stepped into the engagement hall overlooking the Danube. Budapest was wrapped in early autumn, the kind where the air feels sharp and honest, leaves clinging stubbornly to the trees along the embankment. Inside the venue, crystal glasses chimed. A string quartet hummed something classical and forgettable, and my brother Martin stood at the center of it all, glowing with borrowed confidence. I arrived alone. That, apparently, was my first mistake. "Lena," my Aunt Eva said, her smile tight, eyes scanning my simple black coat. "You look comfortable." Comfortable. The family's favorite word when they meant small, unimpressive, disposable. I nodded politely and handed over my coat, feeling the familiar prickle behind my ribs. It had been years since I'd attended a family event like this. Years since I'd learned how to survive their rooms by becoming invisible. Across the hall, Martin's fiancée, Victoria, laughed loudly with her friends. Sharp, rehearsed laughter, the kind that filled space to claim it. Her parents stood beside her, pillars of respectable middle management, already acting as if they'd always belonged to money. My brother caught my eye for half a second, then looked away. That hurt more than I expected. We grew up in Sexvehervar, in a narrow apartment that always smelled of boiled cabbage and damp walls. Our father ruled that home like a storm, unpredictable, violent in his silences, generous only when it made him feel powerful. Martin learned early how to bend with the wind. I learned how to endure it. When I was 17, I left. When Martin was 20, Father handed him connections. At the champagne table, I overheard Victoria whispering, not softly enough, "Is that her? The sister? I heard she never really made it. Some small consulting job or something." Her friend smirked. "Figures. Martin said she's complicated." They laughed, not cruelly, casually, as if my entire existence were a mild inconvenience. I felt heat rise to my face, but I swallowed it. Revenge, I'd learned, required patience. And patience had been my only inheritance. Dinner was served. Duck breast with sour cherry sauce, a nod to tradition dressed up for people who liked pretending culture was something you wore. Speeches followed. Victoria's father spoke about stability, loyalty, future growth. Martin thanked everyone who had supported his journey. I wasn't mentioned. Then came the open mic. Victoria leaned toward Martin, whispering something. He nodded, hesitant. She smiled and gestured toward me. "Lena," she called brightly, "why don't you say a few words? After all, family is so important, isn't it?" Every face turned. I stood slowly, my chair scraping against the floor, the sound echoing louder than it should have. I walked to the microphone, heart steady, hands calm. Years ago, I'd imagined this moment differently, angrier, messier. But what I felt now was clarity. "I won't say much," I began, my voice carrying cleanly through the room. "Just that it's fascinating how families define success." A ripple of polite laughter. "In ours," I continued, "success was always about proximity to power, who sat closest to Father, who benefited most from his name." My aunt shifted uncomfortably. Martin frowned. "I left because I didn't want to inherit fear. I wanted to build something without it. I paused, letting silence stretch. Outside, the river moved steadily, indifferent to human drama. Which brings me to a small clarification, I said, smiling gently. Martin, Victoria, congratulations on your engagement. I believe we haven't discussed my work. Victoria tilted her head. Oh, we know you. Consult. I do, I agreed. I also own Heller and Voss Group. The room stilled. Several guests blinked. One man near the front choked on his wine. Yes, I went on. The logistics and infrastructure firm currently employing Victoria, her father, and, until recently, Martin. Martin's face drained of color. That's not. I stepped down from visible leadership 3 years ago, I said calmly. Kept my name off the brochures. It helps when you don't want family knocking on your door. Victoria stood abruptly. This is a joke. It isn't, I replied. Human resources can confirm on Monday. In fact, they already have. The tension was electric now, a live wire across the room. Power shifted. You could feel it, the way animals sense storms. I didn't come here to humiliate anyone, I said, and that much was true. I came because despite everything, Martin is my brother. But I won't be mocked for surviving differently. Martin finally met my eyes. In them, I saw something crack. Pride giving way to fear. Then something like understanding. After the guests dispersed in uneasy clusters, he found me on the terrace. The city lights shimmered on the Danube, gold and broken. You planned this, he said quietly. I prepared, I corrected. There's a difference. He exhaled. Father would have hated you for this. I know, I said. That's why it matters. Victoria didn't speak to me again. Her father resigned within a month. Martin stayed, but something between us changed. He started visiting my office, asking questions, listening. Revenge isn't always destruction. Sometimes it's revelation. Sometimes it's choosing not to become the people who hurt you, even when you finally hold the power to do so. An inch. That autumn faded into winter. Budapest grew quiet, reflective. And for the first time, I felt like the city and my family were finally seeing me clearly.